Hi, so in the next series of preparing for Tomb of Sargeras, we're going to look at the UI and specifically customizing it and potentially the reasons for customizing it. So what we've got here is just a screenshot I've taken on the PTR. I've got no add-ons on there. So, you know, what we'd call the standard Blizzard UI. And what we've got here, in the top left, you've got your character's health and resource bar up there. Top right, minimap, you've got buffs showing in the top right as well. You'd also have debuffs if any of those were available there. We've got quests showing. Action bars, obviously not all of these are showing by default, but we can put those in for all our abilities on there. The micro bar, the bags bar, chat box, and that's pretty much it. Now, in a raid situation, which is what we're getting ready for, it does look a little bit different. We've got a couple of extra features. So what we can see on this one, this is taken from Warlords of Draenor Beta, actually. The last time I actually was in a raid with a standard UI. And you've got the raid frames on the left. Now, this wasn't always in the game. This you didn't used to have these at all. So this is actually an improvement that Blizzard have made there. The other thing you'll notice, I've got the target bar and my own character bar moved further down. You can actually unanchor them and move them around. So there is much more customization of your UI, just as standard available with Blizzard. Forget about the damage meter there. That's actually as a result of an add-on. You don't get that in the game. You've also got the bars of any important mobs or NPCs in a raid fight as well. They're by default shown on the right-hand side. And, of course, we've got those action bars in the chat box again, which are all, you know, they're sort of movable. You can move frames. You can move the chat box. So you do have some customization options. However, why would we want to use an add-on to customize our UI? There's two main reasons. The first reason is that even though we can move things around a little bit, it may not suit our main purposes still, because we are limited in where we can move them. We're also severely limited in the size. We can move them, but we can't change the size of them. Some of these things are a bit too big, or they have details on that we don't want. They're just there to look pretty. The other thing is that there's still information that we would like in a raid that helps us in a raid situation that just isn't there. So now we'll have a look at the UI as I have it in a raid. Now the first thing I'm going to say here is I am bound, as I keep getting regularly, I'm bound to get some comments here saying, oh, can I have a copy of your UI? A couple of reasons I'm going to say here. First of all, it'd be very bad for two reasons. One, it's actually bloody ugly. I deliberately make it ugly, so people don't ask that. But sometimes people still do. The second reason is it needs to be set up for you personally. The whole point of me customizing my UI here is not only so that I can do things like make the action bar smaller and put them all in the same place, as you'll notice down there. It's not only so that I can have the raid frames in a different format and again move those to where it's more convenient for me. Now here's the thing, again, different people are different with this. I have my raid frames and party frames, come to it, lower center of the screen. Now the reason for this, you'll notice healers quite commonly do this. It has been pointed out to me that it is a very uncommon thing for DPS to do. So why do I do it? Well, it could be a hang up from when I was a healer. However, I still find it convenient to put it there because my focus on the screen is around my character. Everything important that is happening is around that portion of the screen. So my attention is mostly focused there. Anything slightly away from that, I have a decent amount of attention on it in my peripheral vision. It's still sort of mainly there. As I move further and further away from that point of the screen, I am less and less aware of the things showing up on that screen, unless you play on a really tiny monitor. But these days we tend to play on widescreen monitors, so our peripheral vision is much weaker on the outside. So important things like, for example, your health does not want to be stuck in the top left of the screen. We want it close by to where your character is, not over it. You notice my character is perfectly visible. The immediate area around it is perfectly visible. So if there's any pulls of stuff that I either need to stand in or must move out of, I can see it clearly. If there's any other mechanics around me, I can see it clearly. The boss, you can see it at the top of the screen. Everything in that channel upwards is perfectly clear. I haven't got a load of stuff in there. Important messages like boss timers, which again come as a result of an add-on, they're either side of that. I have the ones that are coming in sometime to my left, and I have the ones that are more urgent to the right-hand side. That's just my personal preference. I also have abilities that I've set up with Tell Me When. You could equally use weak auras. Again, around the general area, it's sort of between my frame and the target's frame, all showing about there. It's below my character, so again, it's not obscuring key parts of the screen that I need to focus on. That's all really clear. The combat text, I mean, ideally you wouldn't have it shown at all. There's no need to have it shown at all, but some people sort of like to see it when I do videos, so I basically use MSBT to shove it out to the sides, shove it away there. Now here's the thing you'll notice. Some people may look on the left hand side and go, oh, you've also got like a unit frame for in this case it's for the boss, but you know, if you had other ads, that's also on the left hand side there. Well, your combat text is obscuring that. There are no real fights where that's of any interest to me. I keep it showing there because sometimes there might be a fight where it is, and at that point I would probably turn off the MSBT combat text altogether because I actually don't need that. That's not there for me. I'm not paying any attention to it. That's why it's shoved right out at the side. It's just there for people who are watching me on the videos playback that do like to see it, and would, you know, I'll get a lot of comments if I was to disable it completely. If you ever want to see it in my numbers, I just look at logs for that later on. Your angry assignments, another useful UI feature that's not there as a common thing. You know, if you're going to get yourself information in raids, there are several add-ons that can be useful for this, so getting yourself ready. Top left-hand screen, add-on called Angry Assignment. This is a way for raid leaders to write notes that you might want to refer to during the fight. So you can just stick that up there as well. These things can get saved, and the raid leader can sort of cycle through whenever you come into a new boss, even on farm. It's really efficient. Just pop it up there. You can see here, I mean, one of the most common reasons for it is so that healers can see where their cooldowns have been used in the rotation. Very useful for things like that. Sometimes it tells you which group goes left, which group goes right, or where people are going to go with markers. Any sort of notes are useful for that as well. Other things we've got showing the text chat boxes there. I've got one on left and one on the right. Allows you to split open. So you can have some types of text showing in one and some in the other. Maybe you could separate, some people want to separate out their guild chat or something like that, so it doesn't get lost in like a general or trade chat spam. You can do what you like with that, again with LVUI. There's various other pieces of information. I mean, the main add-ons I've got on show here for notifications are, first of all, some boss mods. The two main types are DBM, Deadly Boss Mods, or Bigwigs. I use Bigwigs at the moment. Both are pretty good. Bigwigs just has certain advantages that I think. We've got angry assignments. LVUI is what I've used to customize my UI to, in other words, change the size of frames, move them around, set it up how I want. And I'm going to be doing some videos over the next week, targeted videos. I already have a video out on how to use LVUI. It's quite a long one. It goes through everything that I've used in it. And you can see that in my add-ons playlist, but I am going to do some shorter targeted ones just for specific components, really, over the next week or so. The other thing we've got in there, as I say, is MSBT. So if you want your combat text showing, but you don't want it all over the middle of the screen because that's just getting in the way, I use that and I can just shove it out to the side. It also gets rid of, well, I choose to get rid of notifications with things like that as well. So that's a really useful add-on. Tell me when is something that I can set up to allow me to see when I've got certain abilities off cooldown, things like that, and tell me when they're going to come off cooldown, something that the standard action bars don't show. You can also use LVUI to get rid of the action bars altogether. A lot of people do that. You might ask why I don't do that. The main reason is not because I can't remember where I've put stuff. I've now been playing with this setup long enough to actually remember my binds. However, I keep them on because occasionally, you know, I'm playing on different characters. On some of the other characters I don't play as often, I do sometimes forget. And I could take it off on one character and put it on another, but I just like my UI to be standard. And the other thing is where you can see I've put them, is there anything I really need to see down there? Not really. Is there anything else that could go down there? No, nothing that I'm really bothered about. So because it's not an inconvenience to me, and because on some other characters it's useful, and occasionally, of course, with certain fights I create myself customized macros, and again I place them there, and sometimes the first couple of pulls I will remember, such as when we did the challenge quest, for example, for our artifact skin. I created myself a few custom macros, put them on there. You can see there's some spare key bindings going beg in there. I put them on there, and you know, just so that I remembered which one I put them on in case I forgot mid-fight, then it's visible there as well. So that's just my reason. A lot of people do away with it, and you can get rid of those as well, hide those, so you don't have to have them shown. Or you might just have some showing, something like that as well. But the key thing is, you've got to think to yourself, what am I looking for? Where is my attention naturally drawn? Make sure the most important notifications are there, and then the less important are out the sides. Like my buffs, for example. I don't need to take a constant eye on my buffs, so I don't mind them being still stuck at the top of the screen. I could move them if I wanted. The really important ones I create customized tell me whens for, like weak order type thing. Same with the angry assignments. Occasionally I might need to look at the angry assignments, but it's very rarely. It's like maybe, you know, in the first few pulls of a fight, but I can quickly glance up there when I need to know and then back again. But all the things that I should keep a ready eye on around the center of the screen, but not obscuring it. So hopefully that gives you some idea about the philosophy of customizing your UI. You don't have to use ElvUI as well. ElvUI is a really popular one, but by all means try out others as well when you're trying this out. It's a good idea as you're getting ready for Tomb of Sargeras. If you really want to step it up, don't forget about the importance of having information ready at hand, because it will make it better. A lot of people go, oh, playing with add-ons is not so skilled. It's a surprise, isn't it, that all the most progressed people in the world use add-ons to give themselves these notifications. The thing is, you might think to yourself, well, you'll just have a really clean UI with nothing showing on it. Oh, and you'll just rely on the raid leader telling you when certain things are happening. Well, first of all, they need things like this to be able to see it as well. So don't feel smug that you're doing without them, because actually you're just relying on someone else as a crutch. And then what happens if the raid leader decides after 20, 30 pulls on the tough boss, actually you should know now when they're coming and you should take responsibility yourself. Your crutch is removed, well, now you have no idea. So you need to be able to use these things for yourself. So, and it's a good time, you know, we've got a good 5-6 weeks before it comes out. Practice with these things, set it up. You might come up with a UI setting, try it out, might not be quite for you, needs a bit of tweaking. Gives you that time each week just to tweak it, just to get it set up what's right for you. Okay? Not copying someone else's, because that's not right for you. You're a different person, unique person. You need to make sure you've got one that's set up right for you. Anything that you find yourself not using as well, get rid of it. If you find yourself after a couple of weeks, well, actually, I don't ever look at that part of the screen. I don't ever look at that. I don't need it. Get rid of it. If there's something you think to yourself, you know, there's something I've put up there, but I don't seem to notice it. I never actually notice it. Make it more prominent. Put it somewhere where you'll see it more prominently. Don't crowd your screen. Make sure you can see the fight, but at the same time, make sure you've got that information to hand. So I hope you found that useful. There will be some more targeted how to customize UI videos coming out, as I say. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share for further content. And until next time, I'll see you later.